Deion Sanders was here and stole the show, but Mike Gundy was here with 3 players. I spoke at length with Mike Gundy. Eric spoke with Mike Gundy and players. What was your takeaway from the day here, Eric?
Well, I think right now Oklahoma State has a clean slate. They can forget last year's 3-9 record. They can forget the winless league record as well. They want to go out and prove something. Play with a little bit of chip on their shoulder too. None of the OSU players were on the recognition team for all Big 12 preseason. And I think that is a sticking point with them as well. But more importantly, they're just ready to go and prove that last year was just something that just an aberration. It shouldn't have happened, and they want to go out and prove themselves. And that's what impressed me the most, just the mentality of this team, are these players going into the fall.
You know, Mike Gundy reminded me that only 5 weeks ago, Eric, there were 35 new players who reported, for duty at Oklahoma State. 35 new guys, 20 of them transfers. And Mike's like, okay, so in the month of August, we've got to cobble together a team that can go compete with Oregon in week 2 and then open the Big 12 schedule with Baylor. So a lot of uncertainty with Oklahoma State, but I wrote about it again today, and I do believe that Mike Gundy has seen enough by now from his new staff and roster that he kind of feels pretty good about everything. I know Phil Steele picked Oklahoma State to finish 16th or dead last in the Big 12 and has OSU at 75 in the preseason national ranking.
They don't. They just want the chance to prove themselves. And you mentioned Mike Gundy getting all these new faces on there. He mentioned that he's going on vacation next week. And in years past, he knew pretty much who was going to start at every position. This time, at least 8 of the spots, he has no clue who's going to start. And I got to expect that one of those positions is quarterback, too. We did ask Mike about the quarterback situation. He said they've gotten better. But he really didn't tip his hand on maybe who was leading, who wasn't leading. So I think that's when we talk about uncertainty, we talk about roster uncertainty, we talk about starting in 2 deep, what's going to happen. I don't even think Mike Gundy knows yet. He will get a chance when practice starts at the end of the month to get a really good look at his program. Of course, they couldn't work with a lot of these new players as they came along this summer, but he's anxious to get out there and see what he has.
All right, so I saw Josh Ford, the tight end from Stillwater, in the hallway. I saw him play in high school, and I saw him here today, and I can report with only slight exaggeration that he has doubled in size. He is a giant kid. Holy cow, he looks like he's about 6'8" now. But I spoke with Mike Gundy today about OSU's recent flurry of recruiting commitments. Of course, he can't acknowledge them specifically like by name or anything, but he did say we are in the game now with regard to recruiting at a level that they weren't before, and by that he meant revenue sharing and money and NIL and a more aggressive approach to recruiting, especially in state. So we'll have a lot of coverage. Eric's copy, my copy. Barry Trammell is here with us over the next 4 or 5 days in the Tulsa World and on TulsaWorld.com. So stick around. And the football season is only 50 days away.